You know when something comes back from your childhood that, man, you are so glad to see it come back, and it just kind of gives you that warm feeling inside? That's what this was for me. Welcome to Star Joes. I'm your host Ryan, and today we're going to be covering Revolution Micronauts number 1 from IDW. Now, Micronauts was a toy line from the late 70s through part of the 80s, and it was also a comic series by Marvel. Now, what had happened was this toy line came out, and they went to Marvel to see if they could create a comic series, which was kind of the thing to do back then. And Marvel decided, yeah, let's go ahead and do this. And Bill Mantlo was the writer on it, and he basically took these toys that really had no backstory and created an entire universe around it. Now, when it came to Micronauts as a comic series, this was the first comic series that I bought as a kid, riding my bike to the local comic shop and looking through the back issue bins, and started collecting the issues and putting them together as best as I could. I didn't read a lot of the issues in order. I read them as I found them, which was really kind of a thing to do back then, was just read a comic issue. You'd pick one up and you read it. You didn't worry about going back to number one. You didn't worry about that you were in the middle of a story. You just picked it up and you read it. And then you kind of pieced it together later. And that's what the Micronauts series was for me, that came out from Marvel in the late 70s and through the 80s. I absolutely love the series. I have a full collection of it. We actually have been starting to cover it on the podcast itself. Now, when I heard that IDW was bringing back Micronauts, I knew there were certain things that they couldn't do when it came to this series. I knew there were certain characters that Marvel created that were still owned by Marvel. But luckily, they found a way around a lot of these characters. You have a lot of similar character types, a lot of similar personalities interacting with each other, and it really does work. So you have Oz, who is the main leader character. He's kind of a smuggler, but he's also a peacekeeper. He doesn't believe in violence. He doesn't believe in killing. He will punch someone occasionally if he has to, but it's really out of self-defense. We also have a Croyer, who is like this space knight type character. We also have a character named Phenelophai, who is a space glider. Now, with the original toy line, there was a space glider character. So the character didn't really have a name. So with IDW and writer Cullen Bunn going back to that original idea and creating a character that was going to be the space glider was actually a very good idea. You also have another character, Larissa, who is a brand new character. She's brought in to kind of monitor and see what the Oz and his group are doing. She's got a military background, and she really brings an interesting dynamic to the whole team. Then you have your robots, your droids, as you will, for those that are fans of this show. You have Biotron and Microtron. Now, in the original series, Biotron was your computer robot that controlled these spaceship that they flew around in. And Microtron was kind of like your R2-D2 unit. So they really did inhabit this whole C-3PO R2-D2 vibe that was going around way back in the days of the late 70s and early 80s. And they brought those characters back. Now, Biotron in the Micronauts series by IDW started off as just like kind of a exoskeleton type thing that Oz would drive around in. But eventually it got zapped, and of course, as many things that get zapped do, it actually developed its own AI, its own personality. So now we have the whole dynamic of the team, and this happened in the first 6 issues of the Micronauts series, which actually the trade for it's out right now, and I do recommend it. The writing is really good on it, the story is really good on it, especially if you're a fan of the old Micronauts series by Marvel. Now, when it comes to this particular one-shot, it's interesting. I still really enjoy the story. I think it's following the story perfectly. In fact, that's kind of a little bit of the problem with this issue, is if you weren't reading the Micronauts series, you might be a little lost as to what's happening in this issue, because this issue could really pick up right where issue 6 left off of the Micronauts series and be called issue 7. But I know they wanted to tie it in all together to this Revolution, and they actually do a good job of that. There is a character that appears at the end of the issue that is tied directly into some of the other characters that we see in the Revolution storyline. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of tie-in to Revolution. Like I said, if you weren't reading the Micronauts series, then you might be a little lost in this issue. If you were reading the Micronauts series, then you pretty much have to pick up this issue to know what's going on. At the end of the Micronauts #6, we see the whole team going into the entropy cloud from their universe, and we don't know what happened to them. Well, this issue shows what happened to them. They end up facing off against a bunch of alien pirate creatures called the Reptos, and they really start attacking their ship, and the Micronauts have to defend themselves. They are really in a bind until a mysterious being called the Time Traveler shows up and reveals to them it's not their time yet. We don't really know much about the Time Traveler himself, but that's great because in the old Marvel series, we didn't really know much about the Time Traveler there either when we started off that story. Now, when it comes to this issue, again, the other thing that I had a little bit of a problem with was the art. It's good art. It's certainly not bad. It's drawn by Chris Panda, and he does a good job. It's standard, solid comic book art. The problem I have with it is when you look at the art from the ongoing series, it has more of a style to it. It looks a little bit cartoony. It adds a little bit to the fun of the adventures that is the Micronauts. The original series was a lot of fun. There was a lot of adventure. So with the possibility of you being a little bit lost as to what is going on in the series, and with the art not being my favorite compared to the ongoing series, I am going to bring this comic down to a level of a hero and a half shell. Now, that certainly means that I enjoyed the issue. I liked reading it. I think it does a great job of continuing the story that we've been reading in the ongoing series. It's just tough as a jumping on point for anyone that might just be picking up Revolution to know what happened before, what came to bring this team together, what caused them to be in the situation that they're in. And there's a really brief introduction at the very beginning of the issue that does just kind of a serviceable job to let you know what's been happening and really doesn't give you a whole lot of details. So I do recommend reading the issue if you have the opportunity to. You definitely need to pick up this issue if you've been reading the ongoing Micronauts series. Now, when it comes to this issue, let me know what you thought about it. And did you read the old Marvel Micronauts series? I'm kind of hoping one of the things that they might do in the IDW one is bring in some of the alien characters. We have a lot of humanoids right now, and there were some alien-style characters that were brought into the Micronauts series as the Marvel series continued. I'd like to see that with the IDW series as well. But let me know what you think about the issue. Did you enjoy it? And also let me know what you know about the Micronauts. Did you have some of the toy line? Did you know some of the characters? Are you reading Micronauts? Are you enjoying the series as much as I am? Let me know in those comments below. Let me know also how you think Revolution's been going on so far. Have you been enjoying it? If you like this video, please click that like button. And if you want to see more of these videos, please click that subscribe button. I will be trying to get these videos out to you at least once a week, more often if I can. But with that, we'll go ahead and close by saying the Force will be with you, because knowing us is half the battle. Take care, guys.